Have you ever been hurt expressly because you are a Christian? It may be that you were passed over for a promotion that you deserved because you didn't laugh at the sexual innuendos and the dirty jokes of your boss. Or maybe you were excluded from some social group because you weren't a part of the party crowd. Persecutions will come, and we shouldn't be surprised. Recently, I've been reading a book called Hearts of Fire. There are 8 different stories, first-hand accounts of persecution of women in different countries, all of them over the last 70 years, who are being persecuted because they stand for the Lord. And it isn't just one religion persecuting Christianity. These stories come from different countries, different religions, and sometimes state governments. The oldest one goes back to Romania, the end of the Second World War, and the horrible Nazis who had been so bad at persecuting the Christians were driven out. But the Russian government that came in was just as bad. And I'm not talking about being shunned or driven out of some social organization. These women were treated quite shamefully, beaten, imprisoned, put into forced labor that was almost impossible for them to perform. They always chose the Lord, even if it meant death. But you don't need this book from Voices of Martyrs to make the point. Go all the way back to 1563. A man by the name of John Fox put out a book, Fox's Book of Martyrs. I've read quite a bit from those writings. They're available today online. And oh, how some of our brothers and sisters were treated so very shamefully. And once again, you don't need either one of those books. Just go to the scriptures. See the Roman persecution that continued beyond the writing of the New Testament. We're familiar with all of that, I suppose. But also read in the scriptures of the Jewish persecution. For example, the Apostle Paul says, of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes save one. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once was I stoned. And then he goes on talking about other hardships that he had suffered for the Lord. That same apostle wrote in 1 Timothy chapter 3, 2 Timothy chapter 3 it is, all those who live godly lives will suffer persecution. Think of Jesus himself and how that he said, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you. And obviously he died because of his teaching. Our preacher, Jeff Brooks, told this very past Sunday of a man named Andy Crouch, who said Christianity is an affront to people who don't want a message of love and peace. Does it seem strange to you that a message of love could cause hate? It always has. It always will. Have you been persecuted because you're a Christian? Then make sure you do what those women that I mentioned a moment ago did. Always choose the Lord, no matter what it costs you, even if it's your life itself or severe suffering. Choose the Lord. I remind you of the words of Jesus himself from the Beatitudes. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets that were before you. The Apostle Paul said for us to pray for kings and all those in high places, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness. That's what we should pray for, peace. But if we find the opposite of peace, we must choose the Lord always.